It's football time in college football. And we're back with another week review. I know we're a day late and a dollar short really with this one, but we're going to try to wrap this one up quick for you today because I've really kind of forgot a lot of things going on last weekend because there wasn't a lot of really exciting games. A lot of the games we thought were going to be really crazy end up not being as crazy as it was. And we were wrong on a couple games there. So I'm not going to really push it too long on this one. But as always, I'm joined with my co hosts, Jayden and Cody.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
they're just lively today. I'm telling you right now, they are ready to go, ripping and rolling, ready to discuss the hard hitting games of the weekend.
I just want to talk about the Colorado game.
That's all he wants to talk about. So I will say with the rankings, and we'll jump into them here in a minute, but I don't know if I agree with the rankings this week that the way they did them. I think they kind of favored some teams that probably didn't deserve to be favored as much. So, but we're going to go ahead and we're not going to knock out with all the games that played this weekend because it really wasn't as exciting. And some of these games are blowouts, not worth talking about. So we won't really talk about them too much, but let's dive into the first game that I would like to discuss, um, which was the Alabama Ole Miss game. I,
I watched the highlights of that game.
I thought Ole Miss was going to do more. I thought they were going to produce something. They just didn't show up.
Mm, I mean, after watching South Florida, I guess we kind of wanted to go into this expecting a little bit more from Old Miss, but I mean, you didn't really see it that much.
Yeah, I
Eh,
thought they were going to show up. Alabama, they've been struggling offensively, and I think they still did in this game to an extent. But Ole Miss just did. They just kind of laid down.
Yeah,
It was definitely defense heavy for a little bit,
Yeah, I'm not
and
sure
then
why that
they
was.
got Jalen Milrow involved like they should have been doing the entire season, and then won the game. Well, I actually thought Ole Miss was going to win this game,
I did
but
too. They started off, pretty strong, and then just couldn't follow up. I mean, they came out the gate swinging hard. They went into the half up 7-3 or 7-6, and then when they came out the second half, it's like they were a different team. They just they couldn't do anything.
yeah,
So
especially in that third quarter.
yeah, Alabama ends up winning that 24-10, and I mean, does that show Alabama is back on track? I don't think so. I don't think they are still. I think they're still got a lot of issues going on there, especially in that quarterback role. They're going to have to figure that out moving forward. Going up against some other teams, some teams that they'll face later on, especially once they. I mean, let's face it, it's Alabama. They're going to somehow wiggle their way into the playoffs like they always
yeah,
do.
they'll probably bounce back somehow.
You know
No,
they'll wiggle in, and then they'll some. I mean, but I will say they still have to go up against LSU this year, and I think LSU will put some damage
True.
on them. At this point, I don't think Tennessee's going to do much, but LSU will probably put some damage on them. So that game will be interesting to see later on in the season.
absolutely. I
All right,
think
good.
I think both teams they both threw an interception both, and with I think what Jalen Milrow is a freshman, I believe,
Yeah.
or so, yeah, freshman. I mean, one touchdown or one interception and one touchdown. That's better than you can say for Jay Dart. Whatever, I can't remember his name. Who did not get a touchdown?
I just didn't think that they just I don't know they just didn't handle them. Ole Miss didn't handle themselves the way they had been playing, and I figured they'd come
No.
out. I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, we all picked Ole Miss to win that game,
Yeah, we did.
and we are all
Yeah,
completely wrong. So
We knew it was gonna be. I think we all knew it was gonna be close, but
not well. I mean, it
I'm
was
it,
kind of close still, but it
and
was
then it
not as way we thought it was going to be.
no.
All right, I don't think we should really dwell on that game that
No.
much more. Let's move over to. Oh, there goes my dog barking for some reason. Take over there, Jayden.
I don't know where we want to go next. I mean, let's talk. I guess we can. Okay. I guess we could talk about Oregon State and Washington State. I mean, I don't. I think I watched a little bit of this game. If I'm not, I don't remember if it was on ESPN or not. But um, I don't know who we all picked. I think I definitely picked Washington State on this game. It was really close by a field goal. Won
Yeah.
this game.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Cameron Ward balled out 4 touchdowns,
Yeah.
404
404
yards.
yards. That's crazy. It's amazing,
Washington
actually.
State's having a pretty good season, if I do say so myself. Um, yeah, we all picked Washington State. I'm looking at our picks right now. We all picked Washington State for this game.
Yeah, and we
And I
I
don't think
mean,
we. I don't think we mean. I don't think we thought it was going to be this close, though. So
I don't
I
remember because we quit diddling with the scores.
yeah,
So
and I think I want to say we probably thought they would squeak by. I don't think it was going to be in a blowout by no means, but
I
I
thought
th-
we had like a touchdown or 2
yeah, I
at
think that's what it
least, but a
was.
field goal.
Yeah, it was a pretty
Okay,
close game.
a good game. I know
Yeah,
that.
I did watch
I
that
like I
game.
said, I'm like Dustin. I actually don't remember what games I watched at all. I don't remember any. I feel like I watched this game. That sounds crazy to say. Like, how do you not remember? But I really don't. Like, I just don't know. Like, there's only a few that I remember watching. Um, but um, I mean, this was defense. I mean, the defense let up points. This was kind of a sling fest, I guess you could say, but not really much to dwell over.
No,
Oregon
but
State finally takes their first loss.
it was a good game though. I mean,
yeah.
it was an
Oh yeah,
offensively game, but it
and
was a good game.
and and we definitely did predict that this is where a lot of people are going to start struggling and losing some games because this is now entering conference play in the season finally. So
Yeah.
Oregon State finally takes their first loss, and Washington State's off to a great start so far.
Yeah,
Of course,
they
Oregon State
So
almost won. They were very
yeah,
close in the fourth quarter. They
which
had
they
21
should
points
have
to 3.
though.
they should have.
They were
Yeah,
ranked 14th, and Washington State was only ranked 21. So they should have. And I want to say they were favored to win. Oregon State was in starting the ball game, and they just couldn't. Yeah, they were
just
favored to
couldn't get
win.
it over.
I mean, they went downhill kind of quick, and then throughout the game, they started losing their win probability. So it was a good game. I watched it. I do remember watching it. I don't remember a lot that happened in the game. We're kind of behind this week, but
Wait, I
um,
did watch this game.
I want to say you did because I think we were talking about it when the game was
Anyway,
going
I, if I did, I did. I don't remember, but
on.
moving on, I guess.
All right, moving on. There's another game I wanted to talk about that kind of was a little bit. I don't know if I want to say frustrated or just kind of shocked that it went the way it did. Was the Florida State Clemson game? It was in
I
overtime.
watched
Yeah.
that game. I did watch that one.
I as well.
Yeah, it went into overtime. I did pick Clemson to win this game, and I thought they were going
They
to
were
pull it
very
off.
close.
I thought they were going to pull it off.
They were very close. But you can't imagine, after all the field goals, the quick action field goals that have won these games in the last 2 years, that was going to be close, but it was not.
Yeah, me and Cody picked Florida State for this game, and Dustin and I went Clemson. Um, the
Yeah,
game was good.
the game was good. Don't get me wrong. I just figured that Clemson had a little bit more in them to pull out the win.
Jordan Travis was playing with a right shoulder injury though,
That's
going into that game.
that is
He did.
true.
He had like a shoulder brace on underneath his pads or something, and I think he was out for a play or two, and they brought the backup in at one point. I believe. I think around second quarter into near the end of the first or whatever. But he was playing with, I guess, a minor, just inconvenient injury or something. Not nothing much that will take him out for like a couple weeks or, of course, the season. But yeah, he was playing with a shoulder quirk,
Yeah,
and
and Clemson, I think Clemson could have won. I really
they
do.
could have.
But the fourth quarter, neither team could score. Neither one of them did. And then somehow Florida State just pulls it off in the overtime. Crazy game. I was rooting for
Sucks for that kicker.
it does. It really does. I'm sure because I think they were talking about it in that game that the kicker was like second string or third string before decided to
Mm.
leave the team, and the coach's son was like, because I guess they've had kicking issues at Clemson for a while now, and the coach's son was like, hey, look, that kicker's still, he's still in school. He's just taking online classes. See if you can get him back. So they brought him
Oh yeah,
back for this game.
he had a job lined up in New York or something.
Yeah.
The kicker did, and they called him. He was like, "Yo, you want to be the kicker?" And the kicker literally talked to his boss and was like, "Hey, I have an opportunity to go be the kicker at Clemson, so I think I'm gonna take it." And the guy's boss is like, "I would be mad if you didn't, and I'm coming to the game." So
Yeah,
the dude's boss came
I
to the game
know.
and was happy to do it.
Uh,
So yeah,
I mean,
that's crazy.
it was cool that he got to actually be the starting kicker, but who knows how long that's going to be now. That was
Mm.
whew, that was a rough one for him.
Now, I think I heard something that he hadn't missed a single kick that entire game until that.
Yeah, he'd come.
So,
I want to say they were talking about before the game because this was his first game playing, and he came to the like practice that day, and he kicked like 12 field goals or something like that, and 11 out of 12 he hit, and they were like different ranges and stuff. So who knows what that 12th football they missed, that one they missed or whatever. But he comes in, and it's the one that he needed the most to seal the deal. Couldn't pull it off. Crazy game. I thought they were gonna do it, but they just didn't. So
Yeah, I thought Clemson was going to show promise
yeah.
actually, like actually pull it out.
All right, let's not dwell on that one any much more. But I do want to talk about this game because I just want to rub it in Cody's face. The Utah
oh, I know
UCLA
which one.
game.
Yeah, I
Oh, the
mean that's
Utah.
fair, but it was close. So
It was, but
Yeah, it was low scoring. This was a defense. Man, I knew it, man. This is a defensive game. 14-7.
and the
That's
reason
the
why I'm
score.
saying I want to rub it
they
in his
just
face,
had
he was
us
the
on
only
the
one who picked
rushing
the
yards.
UCLA is why.
The rushing
Yeah,
yards, man, it killed us. The rushing.
yeah.
Low
Me and
scoring
Dustin
game,
picked Utah. The
14 to
defense was
7.
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, we figured it was going to be a low scoring game, but it was
Yeah.
more or less kind of boring, really, more than anything.
Yeah, because it was a
It
stalemate. The
was.
Yeah,
defenses were hashing it out with each other.
UCLA couldn't do
Yeah, and
anything until the fourth quarter.
even then they threw a an interception, which well, I mean that kind of threw him down the gutter as well.
Exactly.
But overall, it was a very close game,
Slow
in my
game, I
opinion.
guess you could
Slow
Slow.
say.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Here's another
I'd be
one.
proud though if you were
Yeah,
these
I would
teams for
too.
their defenses.
I mean, it's nothing slight either team on or anything. It's just your offenses just couldn't hold
Yeah,
up to
they
the
just couldn't.
defense.
Now,
I
I would
mean,
be a little disappointed in your offenses, but hey, your defenses, I'd be happy about that at least.
I
Yeah.
would say they're more closer ranked, or at least should be ranked than what it shows on these 11 and 22 right here
Yeah,
at that time. So I think they would be more closer than that, just based on the way they played. Their defense, couldn't score on the offense. Your offense couldn't score on defense or whatever. So I mean, I think they're a little closer in rank than what this says. All right, another one I want to talk about that I had hopes for: Ohio State and Notre Dame. Um,
Mm.
dang,
I really thought,
disappointing.
and I will
That
say I
was
did
disappointing.
talk both y'all into picking Notre Dame, and I really thought they were going to pull it off.
Well,
I
I
did.
was kind of going for Notre Dame to begin with because they've been playing. They've kind of had the bumpier road.
Yeah,
They started out a
Yeah.
little. I talked about it last time. Their schedule. They've already had I guess a tougher schedule, you can say. They've already been battle hardened,
Oh
if
yeah,
you will.
Ohio
And
State's not really proved himself.
again, a low scoring game, 17-14 is like the Utah and UCLA
By
game,
field
but
goal.
Notre Dame just really, man,
I mean,
you fumbled the bag.
you really did. But I
Mm.
will say the second half it was even. I mean, Ohio State scored,
True.
Notre Dame scored. Ohio State scored, Notre Dame scored. So I mean, it was even in the second half. It was that first half Ohio State field goal that won the game for them. So I mean, that was the difference. Uh, I
Mm.
thought Notre Dame was going to show up a little bit stronger. They've been playing good. I thought they were going to be a team. And I'll be honest with you, I think if they played again, it would go the other way.
It's
Yeah.
possible. It's possible.
I
And
think
honestly, that
they
can be
would.
said about a couple of the games we've looked at.
That's true.
That
That
could
is
be
true.
that could be said about a couple of them. So,
I
if
think,
you ran back it for some of them, I think that it would probably go in favor of some of the people that have lost for these last couple of games.
yeah, and I mean, I believe that Ohio State's overranked. I think they are. They're
I
overranked,
believe they're overrated.
overrated,
They're overrated every year.
and this game kind of proves it. I mean, Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's a top five school or top five team? No, I don't.
No.
I don't think Ohio State is either. That's the point. I think they're both maybe where Notre Dame was ranked on this game a 9. They might Ohio State maybe an 8. Maybe. But that's what I'm saying. They're overhyped. They're overranked. They're overrated. They don't deserve to be where what we're going to look at in the rankings where they're at now. I think it's a little favoritism, and I don't really quite care for it too much.
The Ohio State head coaches was like, it's Ohio State versus the world. Surely, buddy. Everyone literally kisses your behind, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
everyone kisses your kiss ups to Ohio State for some reason. Why? I couldn't tell you. But it's not Ohio State versus the world. I promise you. It's Ohio State, Ohio State, Ohio State.
Yeah,
That's it.
the committee always picks them to be in the top. I don't think they deserve to be in the top right now. They haven't proven themselves. They've not played a game yet that really showed them that they were a top 5 team. They've every game they've went up so far has been low numbers. They've struggled right off the bat. I think
Yeah,
they're
I would
not as
say
good as they're.
disappointing
Yeah, they've been a disappointing
for
team
Ohio
this
State.
this year, and they're not a top 5 school. I'm sorry, they're not. Maybe they have been in the past. Maybe they could be, but the way they're playing right now, they're just not. They're just disappointing. I mean, you come out. Yes, Notre Dame has been playing great. Don't get me wrong, but at the level that they're putting Ohio State at, making them believe they are, Ohio State shouldn't have had a struggle against Notre Dame. It shouldn't have been a struggle. It should have been a domination. It should have been 28-14 or 28 to
Yeah.
7. But no,
Um,
it's 17-14. You won by a field goal. And in the second half of the game, Notre Dame answered everything that y'all put up. You're not a top 5
I mean,
team.
you got to put this into perspective too. I mean, Alabama was in the top 4 spot not too long ago, right? And
Hmm.
Alabama has been known to be a very, very um, good team in a sense of how they played their games. And Alabama has got a good knack of putting up a lot of points on a lot of different teams, especially in the SEC, which is arguably one of the most hardest conferences to be in. And then they're putting Ohio State in a position that Alabama was once in for putting up points in games against Youngstown State and Indiana. I mean, honestly, of course, last year they did good. They did good in I think it was the Peach Bowl, I believe, whenever they played, uh, Georgia. But it's like they haven't really proven themselves enough to really deserve a spot in the top
Not this
five.
season.
No, especially not this
I
season.
mean, and
Especially not this
look where
season.
they go after this too. The next game they play is Maryland, Purdue. Then they play Penn State, which is the
Then they
next
play
ranked
Penn
school.
State.
I mean,
That's the biggest
they go.
challenge after Notre Dame.
I know they go to Maryland, which shouldn't be a shouldn't be a problem for them. By where they're supposed to be in the nation. Purdue won't be it shouldn't be a problem for them. Penn State will be the first big problem for them. And then who do they play after that? Wisconsin, not going to be an issue. Rutgers, not going to be an issue. Michigan State, not going to be an issue. Minnesota,
Well,
not
yeah,
going to be
no.
an issue. And then they finally play
Michigan,
Michigan,
which is their biggest game of the year.
which will be the biggest game of
Absolutely.
the year, which will be their
See, I
hardest
hate to
hurdle to
say
hit.
this, but I'm more concerned about the games Ohio State should blow people out of the water than the games that are their challenge games this year. Let's look at the start of the season. Youngstown State. I mean, yeah, they got scored on them, but oh wait,
Well,
no, who was it?
Indiana was first,
Um,
and Indiana scored a
well,
field
yeah.
goal on them right off the bat. Youngstown State did the same thing,
Well,
scored a
I
touchdown
knew
on them.
that. I just was skipping over Indiana
Yeah,
because it's a Pac-12 or not, sorry, not Pac-12, Big Ten. It's a conference game, and Indiana really isn't all that bad of a team, but they're not anything to like. Oh my God, they're the best to play the game. No, it's just Ohio State should have blew them out of the water, and 23-3 isn't really blowing them out of the water to me.
no,
Ohio State should have beat the brakes off Indiana, but Indiana's always been a resilient team, so
but
yeah, they trying to beat them. Youngstown only 35 points. Okay, that's
Youngstown
weird.
came
And
out
then
first and scored. I mean,
yeah,
so Western Kentucky, you let
and then
them
they
score 10
finally
on.
played like yeah, they let 10 on them, but they finally put up points like
Yeah,
Ohio State should
but
have.
it took
Like it
them.
took you till 3 weeks
Yeah,
till Western Kentucky.
and then
I
you
mean,
come out and
okay,
play
and then
against
you
Notre
played Notre
Dame,
Dame
and Notre Dame,
and
they
you
could have
revert
won
back.
that game. They could have Notre Dame could have won that game.
Notre Dame should have won the game, but
Yeah.
they choked.
So I mean, Maryland. I mean, right now, Maryland has a shot. I'm sorry, they do.
That's what I'm saying. I'm more concerned about the games that are supposed to be throwaway blowout games than Penn State coming up or Wisconsin coming
Yeah,
up or anything or even Michigan down the road because that's literally their last game of the season is Michigan.
yeah.
So
And if they're playing like they
like
are, they're not going to be able to even compete with Michigan.
no.
Not that Michigan really showed much against Rutgers there. I was kind of surprised that they struggled a little bit in the first quarter with Rutgers. But they did, eventually come start scoring, pretty good, and then got 31-7 on them. So I mean, they did their job, and it was a better deficit than what Ohio State has been doing. So
Michigan has been consistent, I guess you
yes,
could say. They've always been around the 35 range, 30 points range this season.
well, if you look at
So
Michigan,
Yeah.
they've had 31, 31, 35, 30. That was their scores. It's been
yeah.
and their
Yeah.
opponents 7, 6, 7, 3.
I
And
mean
you
their
also got to
team's
take into
built on
consideration
defense.
Yeah,
they also played a variety of players as well.
yeah,
They're not just putting in their
Yeah, they're
first and
building depth
their
just by
starters and that's it.
playing backups.
and I'm not going to say Michigan has a harder road or anything because they got the same teams they play as Ohio State. Don't get me wrong; they play Penn State, which is their biggest game before Ohio State, but Michigan has been consistent every single game. They put up the same numbers. And that's with them constantly rotating their quarterbacks, trying different people out. So they've been consistent week in, week out. You know what you're getting from Michigan. Ohio State, not the same. They're struggling in some of these positions. So don't think for a second that they're a top 5 school.
No.
All right. Is there any other games that really want to look at this week? A lot of them were blowouts, and I'm not going to waste y'all's time that's listening onto these blowout games. And the only reason I brought Michigan up, although that was kind of a blowout, is just to compare Ohio State to Michigan. which
I
is their biggest
mean,
rival. One game
I'm
we,
kind of
we did
interested
want to talk
that
about.
Florida and
Yeah.
Charlotte.
One game we want to talk about is the skinning of the Buffs. What happened
Well,
to that?
let's talk
What
about
happened?
Florida
Huh?
first. Let's talk about Florida
Well,
first.
hold on. We
We
still
could
have
talk about Florida
LSU and
first.
Arkansas as well, so we can't forget about that. We haven't talked about
Uh,
LSU and Arkansas yet,
oh,
but
that
we
was a
will talk.
close
We can
game.
talk about Florida.
Let's talk about
We will talk
Florida
about
and
Florida
Charlotte
next.
was. I mean, it's 22-7. Um, Charlotte came back in the second quarter, putting their 7 points on them, and then Florida could not do anything really offensively the second half of the game. Only a couple field goals. So, Florida fans, sit down. Sit down because you didn't prove yourself. Yes, you beat us. You beat Tennessee.
They went up
We're
3
having
spots after that game.
I know. We're having
What?
struggles. Well, we'll get to the rankings and how much I disagree with how they are in a minute, but
Yeah.
we have our struggles at Tennessee. Florida, Charlotte. You couldn't do anything in the second half against Charlotte? And you're going to say that you're back and you're going to win a championship?
No, they're not winning out. I'm sorry.
I will give them one thing. I'll give you one thing, Florida. That one-handed catch, I think it was Pearsall.
Yeah.
I will say that was pretty sick. 2-man coverage and one-handed catch, that's pretty sick. I won't lie. That was a good catch.
They need to stop being
Not
delusional.
that it did much for you.
Yeah.
But
They need to stop being delusional.
still.
I mean, Charlotte, you struggle with Charlotte. That's all there's to it. Yeah, you put some points in the first half, but the second half you came out and would you go to sleep? Because
They still got Kentucky to play later in the season, so
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
Kentucky.
this is the only time I've been like, hey. Now I think Tennessee could beat Kentucky, obviously, but Florida and Kentucky game, Florida fans should be a little worried about Kentucky.
yeah,
I mean,
Even
let's
probably
be
South
honest.
Carolina, I bet.
Florida won't last too long. I
no,
mean, they play Kentucky, Vandy, South Carolina, and Georgia, Arkansas, LSU, Missouri, Florida State. I mean, come on now. No,
yeah, they still got a
Come on.
pretty big road to lead. Florida
mean,
State's
they've
probably going
got
to
a-
manhandle them.
They play Kentucky
massive.
this week,
Yeah.
this Saturday. I'll watch
So,
that game.
Let's move on
Yeah,
to the one that Cody wants to talk about the most, which the one you mentioned right off the get go, the Oregon Colorado game.
Oh,
Yeah.
the absolute
Woodshed.
just
Yeah.
massacre.
It
The
this
onslaught.
this was a personal. This was personal
Game.
for Oregon. This was personal, straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, they showed some clips of the coach in the locker room before the game, just basically saying how personal it was for them and that they're not Hollywood type. He was calling it calling Deion Sanders out basically and the fame that they were getting and the hype they were getting. It was very personal to Oregon when the coach goes into halftime and tells the commentators like, all these people talking and watching these games, I hope they're still watching and we ain't done yet. That was personal.
Yeah.
You could feel how personal that game was. And Oregon, they didn't. They showed up in a big way. So you had number 10 Oregon versus number 19 Colorado, and Jayden's been talking about this for a while. Cody's talked about this. What would Colorado do if they got just smacked into the ground? I don't know. They got beat. I mean, not only did they get beat, they got bloodied. They got
bludgeoned.
They got decapitated, I feel like, on this one. 42-6. And I feel like that 6 was a mercy. Because at that point they had brought in their second string defense, and that's when they was able to score their 6 points. I mean, when you have 13 on the first quarter, 22 on the second quarter, and 7 on the third, that's you're definitely wanting to beat the snot out of them. So what do they do?
And it's it's hard to see how they will rebound from this because I mean, obviously they play USC next or this Saturday, so I mean, you know
They
they've
won't
got
win that game either. I'm just gonna
they
let you know that right now.
they probably no they won't
No,
no
no, no,
they
absolutely
won't.
not.
But they play USC, they play Stanford, which might be all right, Arizona,
UCLA,
Oregon State, UCLA,
yeah.
and then Washington State and Utah. You know, so it's it's really hard to see how they're going to rebound from
I don't
this.
know how
I
they're
mean,
the games that are coming up. They only really have what one, maybe two teams that they really can show any rebound for. I mean, USC is going to manhandle them just like Oregon did.
yeah.
So I mean, they're probably feeling the hype. They know the hype of Colorado, and there's probably still gonna be press on Colorado how they're going to react to this loss and everything. I mean, they've been talking about in the news that Oregon's coach got news on how to beat Deion Sanders and stuff. I mean, they're still talking about Deion Sanders. So
I mean,
USC is going to come in this game just to smack him again.
No.
I mean, after the game, the press conference, Dion was like, "They're not trying to beat my team. They're trying to beat me. They forget I'm not on the field no more. They're trying to beat me." I was like, "No, Dion. No, they're not."
No,
I was like, and I was reading a lot of comments today talking about the dude because it's still on my like Instagram on my feed today about that Oregon game, Oregon and Colorado game. I was reading the comments and there's some people's like, "Wow, one team trash talk another team. What's new? What's so cool about this?" And everyone was like, "Nah, dude, this ain't normal trash talk.
no,
First of all, this is Deion Sanders type. You know, if you know anything about Deion, you know he can be a little cocky. You know."
bombastic.
Yeah, he can be. There you go. There's a good word for it. And it's either he allows or lets his team act this way, or they're all following that Deion Sanders hype and trying to be like Deion Sanders. And well, it just didn't work this game.
No,
All those they're stretching before the game. You know how before the game starts, both teams are on the field, opposite ends of the field. They're stretching, running little slant drills with wides or whatever, wide receivers. Oregon was or not Oregon, Colorado was just staring him down, talking garbage to him all there in the little stretch in practice or whatever, walking on the O, walking on
yeah,
the
scuffing it
logo.
up.
Like,
Yeah.
bro, what are you doing?
Breaking it.
You
Yeah,
can't be doing that and then get bombed on.
yeah, you
And then I
got
read a comment that
destroyed.
said, "Wow, talks trash and finally," and then gets the brakes beat off of him with actual competition. I was like, yeah, I knew this was gonna happen. I didn't know it was gonna be this bad, but
Yeah, I
hey.
didn't either.
And USC's about to do the same thing.
Oh
If you
yeah,
don't think they're not, then you're delusional.
they will not go
The
easy on
hype's
them.
over for
Yeah,
Colorado. It's over.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna let you know. They
uh,
ain't winning no championship, and they're not going to no playoff. I'm
no, no,
almost
no,
willing to
no,
guarantee
no.
it.
They may win 2 more games this season. That's it. Which good on them though. That puts them in a better record than they had last year. They're already in a better record than they have last year.
Yeah.
But the hype is over. Don't get me wrong. The hype is
I want to
completely
see how
over.
they bounce back. We finally got to see where their backs are against the wall, and well, they didn't respond well. So,
No, uh, they
but
they got destroyed.
Shador didn't do anything.
No,
Nobody done anything. Oregon didn't allow them to even get the ball off at all.
yeah, they went from playing like Madden rookie mode to playing Madden All Pro and could not do anything. That's how this game
Like
went.
it was 35 to what 0 going into
Yeah,
the
the first
half
quarter. Yeah.
That's
or
why I
something
was
like that.
that's why I was telling the wife. I said,
41.
I
No,
said
40.
you've
Sorry,
got
35.
you've got Colorado. I said I don't hate Colorado. I don't hate Deion Sanders. It's not that. It's just I think
Nah, I don't either.
the hype is crazy. I said, but you got Bo Nix going into this game. He's a veteran in college football right now. I mean, he's seasoned. He knows what he's doing. He's not going to let some hype just rattle him. He's going to be, he knows how to handle himself. And it was just so crazy because he even threw an interception on, so and he still beat the snot out of him, 42-6.
I mean, was Colorado even playing the game? Were they even there?
It does by the stats, not much.
Like,
They
did
couldn't run the
Colorado
ball.
show up
They couldn't
to
run the
Oregon
ball. They couldn't
that
receive.
week?
I mean,
Oregon ran it down their throat, threw it down their throat, and they didn't do nothing. They didn't stop. It's like they never played football in their life, Colorado.
yeah,
But hey, I knew this was gonna happen.
yeah. The hype is
Sucks to
over.
suck, I guess.
It's done. USC is going to put a hurt
Enjoy
on
it.
you. We will talk about you again for you know this next game you got coming up because USC's ranked, and we'll probably talk about you again later on in the season. But it's not going to be that you're going to be
Utah
these
and
smaller
such.
games and stuff. But yeah, like Utah, we'll probably talk to you. I'm sure Utah probably will still be ranked by then, so we'll probably still talk about them at that point. But it's not going to be that you really did much. So
I would like to see how you grow for next year.
yeah,
think
I think there's
you got
promise. Yeah,
now.
there is promise. There's lessons to be learned about this season, and
I don't know, man. They go to a new conference next season.
yeah, they do. But there is some lessons to be learned,
So,
so we'll see.
oh, they can learn from it, but I almost would like to bet they'd probably do worse next season due to the fact that they're moving to a new conference.
I
I think
mean,
Washington State and Oregon State is the only two people staying in the Pac-12, I believe. So,
it's the Pac-2 now.
Yeah.
yeah, I know, but it will
Just take
forever
that
be
one
called the
off.
Pac-12. It will forever be called the 12 because they don't know what they're doing.
It's the
Just like
Pac-12 minus 10.
The Big Ten shouldn't even be called the Big Ten when there's 14 teams in it. It doesn't
Yeah,
even make sense, but whatever. But yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like they can learn from it and build some character and experience to help them going in the new conference. And I don't remember if they're going to the Big 12 or the Big 10. If they go to the Big 10, they're getting slammed. If they go in the
now
Big 12,
and
they might have a chance.
this is something I heard and I was confused about because they're saying someone had speculated that Dion's not going to be with Colorado much longer. That he's actually spying a job in the SEC.
There is rumors of that, and they're saying it's going to be, um, well, here's what it was supposed to. If Bill Napier would have lost the Tennessee game, they would have fired him after this season, and a lot of people was like, "Man, Carl, he may go to Florida. He
Yeah,
may
there
go to
was,
Florida."
but
But
he is spying on trying to find a
I don't
SEC
know
team.
who
I
they would
think
go
I
to.
heard something about how he was looking into Arkansas, actually. And that would be interesting. I
Could
don't know
be.
if that's true or not.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be
Colorado
interesting if it was.
Colorado is moving to the Big 12, by the way. Sorry,
Okay.
I had to look that up. So, still not the crazy conference, but Big 12 still has people in it that is okay.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I heard a lot of stuff. I heard Dion talking about going to a Big 10 conference team, SEC team like Florida. I was like, Florida? I was like, no, Bill Napier's locked in at Florida now because they beat us. So
Well,
they're
I
not
won't
getting rid
say
of him.
I don't know if he's locked
No,
in. There's
yeah,
yeah.
I hate to say it, but these locked in.
You think
That was the
so?
game that was a maker. Yeah, I guarantee it.
Mm,
They beat us. That was the make or break. They're happy with that win, and Florida is showing more. Again, they're not winning no conference, and they're not going to no playoffs this year. We can all say that. But if Florida plays relatively well and wins the games that they need to win and does decently okay, Bill Napier would be fine. But now I will say, if they get the brakes beat off of him for the rest of the season, they don't do nothing. They'll fire him.
yeah.
Then you're sure. But as of now, he's locked in. But again, I could be wrong, but I almost would like to guarantee he's locked in for the for the remainder of this season, and they'll probably have him back next season. But it depends. Depends on how the rest of the season goes.
That's true.
Now
That's
they're still
true.
shaky. It's still shaky. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, people
Yeah.
are still not fond of him, but I think for the overwhelming majority, they're fine. They beat us. You see how happy they was? Yeah, they want to keep Bill Napier. Why do they need to get rid of him? To get another coach that may be just as bad, if not worse. If it's not Deion Sanders, then if they don't get Deion,
Yeah, I don't
then
know.
who are they gonna get?
I mean, who knows
It's not a
though?
wise choice.
Well, I
But
mean,
I
with Dion coming to coach in college football, that just really it really opened the door for a lot of ex football, ex NFL players to come down. So I mean, you say who
that
else?
is true.
Who will they get? Well, it could be a number of people. I mean, I honestly, I'm surprised Ocho Cinco hasn't tried to do that already. I'm really am as much as a showboat that he was, and I figured he would
Yeah.
be the one that would do something like that. So I'm kind of shocked that that's not happened, and it was Deion Sanders first that did something like that. So, but it does open the
But
door.
yeah, the rumors are around, and I think it's because uh I'm pretty sure Shador is a senior, is he not? I mean, he's already been around.
I think he's a junior.
Yeah, I don't think he's a senior.
Yeah, he's a junior. He's 21. He would be a
Yeah,
junior.
yeah. Now
All right.
that does bring another question though.
Okay.
I mean, do you think do you think that those same people that left Jack State with Dion would also leave Colorado as well?
Travis Hunter will not be.
No,
Travis
Travis
Hunter
Hunter
is
No,
probably
he
won't.
he just got here, so
no,
he played
but
Jack State 1 year, and this is his second year at Colorado, or his second year as sophomore. Right now, he's just now playing in Colorado. He can't
with the
leave.
transfer portal, anything is possible. So
Now he might transfer, but other people might transfer, but um, depending if Shador is gonna go to the draft this after this season or not, it's entirely up to him, of course. But depends how the rest of the season goes. Depends if it plummets his draft stock or not. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where Dion would go. They're moving to the Big 12 next year, so I think he's locked
honestly,
in for a little bit
well,
unless they fire him.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
they'll
he can.
fire him because I think he's
No,
No,
already
no.
proved his worth up there in Colorado. They're going to want to try to keep him, I guarantee.
because he's
Um,
on a contract, 100%.
oh, absolutely. I mean,
He
and
can't be like,
he's
no, I'm done. No,
Yeah.
that ain't
even
gonna, that's not a thing.
even with them maybe only winning 2 more games this season, he's already brought a lot of publicity up to that school, which brings in a lot of money and a lot of donors. I mean, they've sold out
Oh, the
stadium.
economy's boosted
Yeah, the
the
economy.
past 3 weeks.
No one's wanting to get rid of him in Colorado. I guarantee it. Even if they lose every single game the rest of the season, they're not getting rid of him because he's
Plus,
just
this is good for recruits.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're
They're
gonna
going
want to
to
go
pull
play for
people in.
Dion.
Exactly. They're going to pull
Dion
people in.
sells himself.
Yeah. That's it's a shoe in up there. So they're not going to get rid of Dion up there. If he goes somewhere,
No,
it's probably just to have a bigger school for him to do something greater, and it'll be on Dion to do it, but he won't get fired.
no.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the last game I want to talk about tonight, and then we'll go into the rankings. Of course, we got to talk about Tennessee uh, and UTSA. 45-14 sounds like a pretty good game, right?
No.
Depends on if you watched it, I guess.
Yeah, right. So, as usual, we had a huge talk about the Florida Tennessee game. We done a special episode last week on it and how Milton.
We're a broken record at this point,
Yeah,
guys. I don't
it's a
even know if there's
broken
anything much
record.
to say. It's the same issues over and over
Well, I
again.
mean, look, it's the same thing. Look what happens. He comes out, he does an 81-yard touchdown run. We're all
He
like,
can't figure
"Oh,
out how to throw, so he just
he
runs.
shuts us up. He shuts us up. 81-yard run. He's doing what we've been wanting him to do. To if he can't throw it, to get his legs moving." And then time after time again, he finds a way to disappoint us. Because, yes, it was 45-14. But let's look at something here. Okay, let's look at something. The third quarter is where UTSA got their 14. We had 0. We could not do anything that third quarter. Not a thing. There's an issue when
You
a
know,
go ahead.
it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad whenever at the beginning of the season we praise the defense. We love the defense. We're like, yes, this is an improvement from last year. And then we get into it and we're like, God, is our defense falling asleep? Did they bring some pillows out there with him? What's going on? It's like I feel like we're falling apart.
Well,
We're
here
falling
here's the
apart. We're
thing.
falling
Okay.
apart offensively and
Oh yeah,
defensively.
UTSA, right? UTSA, not on the caliber of an SEC team. Their quarterback McCowan throws 18 for 20, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. This big Joe Milton III, right? The one that everybody hypes up. 18 for 31, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm sorry, but McCown's stats, although minus the interception, seem better to me. 18 for 20. You missed 2. Joe
That's not
Milton,
bad.
just over 50%. 18 for 31. The stats are not that good.
I mean, the
Where,
stats
where do we get our
are
yards from? Rushing. Samson, 139 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11 carries. That's where we're at. We're running, and we can't run against these bigger schools. I'm sorry, we can't. They know we can't pass it, so we got to try to. It's the same story we talked about with the Florida game. Same story.
I will say, unfortunately, Joe Milton is very steady with his failed passing, pretty
Oh yeah,
much. He's
Joe
very
Milton is the most consistent, inconsistent player I've ever seen in my life.
yeah, he's very consistent in incomplete passing,
oh yeah.
which is very unfortunate, but it kind of narrows down the spectrum of what we can expect from Joe Milton
And
for the
and
rest of the season.
and I know
Especially.
we got people out there, especially Tennessee haters. They're like, y'all are just saying the refs are always against you. I'm sorry. Go back and look at when we put Nico in. That face mask that wasn't called
Yeah.
turned his
There's
head.
quite literally an investigation going on SEC officials. You think we're complaining?
There, he
Really?
turned his head
Yeah.
180 degrees. His helmet
You know,
was facing the other way,
I wouldn't be surprised if he had almost snapped his neck from that face mask, honestly.
and it was
And then
right
no
in
flag.
front
No
of
flag.
the ref, right in front of him. He was staring right at him when it
And
happened.
then the play right after we get a holding call on us.
Mm-hmm. You're going to tell me that
After
the refs are not in on hating on SEC teams in Tennessee? You're smoking something because that was obviously a face mask. I mean, if you look at you want to say, well, how can I tell if it's a face mask? That one's blatantly obvious. How you can tell what a face mask is. Turned
yeah,
his
you
helmet
want it
completely
if
around.
you want a definition of a face mask penalty, look at that play.
Yeah. I mean, Nico's head turned almost 180 degrees the other way. I mean, are you serious? You can't call that face masking?
And
What are you doing?
that's another thing I'd like to comment on. We put Nico in the game, and what does he do? He chews the clock.
Mm-hmm.
He gives it to the halfback, chews the clock.
We
Gives
don't
it to
get
the
to see what he
halfback, chews
does.
the clock. We don't see anything from him. We don't
Nope.
see any passes. We don't see any decisions. We just see him chew the clock. That's it.
He did that in high school too, by the way.
And
I
that's
watched his
all
high
we've
school
seen.
highlights. He passed more in high school. Don't get me wrong.
Well,
but
we
they
can't.
ain't just the coaches ain't doing
Yeah, they're
nothing
not
for
going.
him.
Well, the reason why they won't, and we talked about this, is because if Nico goes out there and proves everybody, all the coaches wrong, proves these Milton lovers wrong, that we don't have no other option. It's Milton or nothing. Then they're going to look bad. And they don't want that. They want to be right. So they're going to keep Milton in. They're not going to give Nico a chance to actually show what he's actually got. So we don't know. Nico's not going to get the reps that he needs for next year because he's going to be our quarterback next year. And he's going to be coming into this fresh, not knowing how to, to control the college football game. And we're going to be, I mean, he could be a great quarterback, but he's going to be brand new, basically. He's not, let's see, we're in what, the 5th week coming up, and he's played what, 4 downs?
If that.
And he's passed it probably 3 times.
Maybe.
Maybe once. Twice. He's passed it at least twice.
At least twice.
But the rest have been
handoffs.
Run.
So he's not, we're not creating depth at all whatsoever. So, he's not getting any play time to see how he's going to do, just so the coaches can be right and say, well, we don't have any other options. Well, I think we do. I think he's on the bench right now.
Yeah, we have 2 other options, the second and third string, so pick one of them.
Yeah.
Preferably Nico.
If you don't want to put Nico in, put the other guy in. See what he can do.
Dude, I'll take the third string at this point.
Yeah.
I don't even care, bro.
I mean, we're going to go up against South Carolina this week, and you're going to tell me...
Can the third string be that bad?
I don't know.
At this point? Can he be that bad?
I mean...
Except for being inexperienced?
Yeah. And why?
But from what Joe Milton plays, looks like he's inexperienced.
He's not proved himself again. Yes, he had an amazing 81-yard run against UTSA.
If it happens again next time in South Carolina, I won't. When it comes to talk about the game, I won't say anything, because if it's the same thing that happens, it's a broken record. It's a waste of my time to talk about this game or Tennessee if it's going to be the same issue coming up. If it's the same issue against South Carolina again, you guys can talk about it, and I'll just sit here. I'm not gonna waste my breath talking about the same garbage that we have talked about again.
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
It is. They're not fixing it. They don't seem like they care to fix it. They
But
want to
you
be
won
right.
the game. I don't care.
Yeah,
won the game.
It's not the point. It's the point is we're still seeing in these games that we should be slaughtering the same mistakes, the same issues that they've had the past how many games we played so far. He's not a good quarterback. I'm sorry, he's just not. He's average at best for a D2 school.
Like, you see his stats, he's like, well, his stats say otherwise. Yeah, but then you watch the game. Let's just say Joe Milton throws for like 340 yards and 4 touchdowns, right? Let's say he throws for that game, but watching the game, it doesn't even look like he played like how the stats show. It never looks like that, ever.
No.
Oh, yeah, 340 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, but then you watch the game, it doesn't translate.
No.
It feels like you watch him play it, and it's like, are you actually sure he has thrown 4 touchdowns and 340 passing yards? Are you sure about that? Because it doesn't look like it, but the stats say otherwise. Like, it doesn't. The stats says something else, but when you watch him play the game, it doesn't look like the stats.
No, I mean,
if that makes sense.
The stats
That's
this
Joe
week
Milton.
are pretty obvious. He was on par with the community
This
college
is
that we played.
lacklustering, this game for him.
Yeah. I mean, 209 yards, 18 for 31.
He should have doubled both stats, both stat margins.
I mean, when the opposing team, might as well be a community college, throws 18 for 20, 170 yards, almost identical to what you did, you're not playing. You're just there. You're handing off to Samson, hoping that he's going to carry the team, and that's what he did. He carried the team. I mean, don't get me wrong. Squirrel White did some really good, plays and stuff too. But I mean, not knocking anybody else on the team, but it's just the point. Joe Milton, by these stats that they keep bringing up, is on par with a community college school.
Look, all I gotta say is good job, UConn, for scoring 7 on Duke. I'm proud of you guys.
You've been waiting to say that, haven't you?
I have been waiting for UConn.
Oh, you just like
Nah, I'm
that
just
Husky
kidding.
logo.
But yeah, it's the same. I don't know. Something just draws me near UConn. Maybe I'm a UConn fan now.
It's the
Maybe because
Husky
I feel their
logo.
pain.
Yeah, I know,
Maybe
right?
because I feel their pain of losing every game we play. Good job, UConn. I'm proud of you guys.
Oh
7.
gosh.
You could have got
7.
10, but 7, I'll take it.
Hey, they got 7
Good
against Duke.
job.
All right,
God,
let's
I
Little
feel bad
Husky.
for him.
yeah, I really do.
Anyway,
Let's
moving on,
change
I
pace
guess.
and go over to the rankings. And since we're already been almost an hour into this so far, and we need to jump into the where we're at in the rankings here. Um, we'll start off at the top this time because those 3 didn't change. Georgia, Michigan, Texas stay the same.
Top 3.
Yeah,
Boom.
top 3. Here's where I start disagreeing. Ohio State, number 4. You're going to bump up Ohio State 2 spots
Ooh.
and drop
2
Notre Dame
spots.
2 spots. That doesn't make sense. If you bring Ohio State up 2 times for beating a team that's lower ranked than them, and only by a field goal? It was a field goal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was fun.
only by a field goal. Would you not then say, well, Notre Dame was good enough to hang with Ohio State? Shouldn't they go up then?
Well, I don't think they should go up, but they should at least
Stay the
stay
same?
the same.
Yeah,
Or
Yeah.
go down at least 1 if you want to take them down 1, but 2?
but 2. That makes no sense to me.
Really?
Ohio State is not a number 4 school. I'm sorry, they're just not.
Yeah, they're very lackluster this season. I think Florida State deserves that spot, from being honest.
Yeah.
It should be Florida State, Penn State, Washington, USC, Oregon, Ohio State, Utah, Notre Dame.
I mean, I
In
get
that
it.
order.
Clemson, went into overtime with Florida State. I get that, you have to drop Florida State down 1 because of that, because Clemson was unranked. But it's Clemson.
See, why did they do that with the Ohio State game? I see your point.
You see
Florida
my
State's
point?
close game.
Yeah.
Florida State beats Clemson in overtime,
Mm-hmm.
and they go down 1.
Yeah.
They go down 1 after a loss.
Yeah.
Because Ohio State won the game. That's why they went down.
No.
Ohio State would have never moved. Or Florida State would have never moved if Ohio State didn't win the game.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
since they won, they want to, kiss them.
Florida State won
you
too.
taste so good, Ohio State. And then send them up there.
Florida State won also.
Exactly.
So why did Florida State
Now, I will
move down
say
1?
they are differing between 4 points. 4 points out of 1,300 something points. They are only differing from 4 points. Florida State and Ohio State.
I know, but the
What?
problem is he's talking about the how many
Yeah.
votes they got.
How is it 4
Yeah.
points?
It's Ohio State's
It's 1370 to
1370.
1366.
Mine says 51.
Yeah, mine does too.
I guess yours is
I'm
updated
looking
or
at the
something. I don't know.
I'm looking at the official AP polls, so
I
I
don't know.
mean, I don't know.
But anyways, I mean
Yeah,
the
that's fine.
point stands. Does Ohio State deserve
No.
that number 4 over Florida State number 5? No.
Dude, they're still a top 10 team. They're just not top 5.
No, they're not. Honestly, I think they're going to have some problems down the road.
Here you go. We'll keep talking. I'm gonna draw my new prediction right here, right now.
All right, so let's like we talked about 4 and 5. 6. Penn State comes up to 6. Washington State comes up to 7. I'm okay with that. Those are fine. USC moves down 3 spots to number 8.
What are we talking about?
USC.
Oh,
A
USC.
little
Sorry.
rough.
Why?
Oregon goes up.
Why does US,
Yeah, I don't know.
UC need to drop down that to
Why?
number 8?
Why did they drop down 3 positions after winning to Arizona?
And not just winning, they took care of them. They took care of their
Yeah.
situation. This is like I
don't
said.
know how
I
they
don't. This don't make any sense whatsoever.
how do they drop down 3 spots after winning? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't understand that whatsoever. I mean,
That's funny.
again,
Sad, but
I
it's
don't agree
funny.
with these polls. I just don't. Number 9, Oregon. They moved up
Fair.
a spot. Fair. I mean, they beat the brakes off of Colorado.
I don't know. I think they should have moved up too. By the way this is looking, I mean, let's just over
Really?
exaggerate some
I
things.
mean,
Let's
really,
put
you
them
want
up
to?
too.
I mean, let's do it. Let's bring them up to number 4. Drop Ohio State
Let's
out of
blow-
there. I
yeah,
mean, they put the
yeah.
show on this week. Number 10, Utah moved up a spot. Notre Dame moves down 2. It's like I said, I don't understand it. That by way the game went, Ohio State and Notre Dame are pretty close equal. So would you not, if you have any brains in your head, not say, okay, well then Notre Dame needs to be closer to Ohio State, not further away from them? That don't make sense.
Yeah, I don't. No. Just no.
Alabama number 12 moves up a spot. I don't know if they deserve that or not. LSU goes down 1 spot. It is what it is with LSU, I
Wait,
guess.
LSU? Oh, because they almost lost to Arkansas,
Yeah, I
which we
mean,
didn't talk about.
yeah.
That's okay.
No.
Sorry, Arkansas fans. But uh, number 14, Oklahoma moved up 2. UNC moved up 2 to 15. Washington State moved up 5 spots to number 16, which rightly so. They deserve that.
Yeah.
They were the underdogs in that game. They came in and won. 17, Duke moved up 1. Miami moved up 2 to 18. Oregon State moved down to 19th, moved down 5 spots, which, see, that makes sense. Washington State moves up 5, Oregon State moves down 5. Ole Miss
That
moves
makes
down
sense.
5 for their loss, so they went down to 20. Tennessee moved up 2 to 21. Florida moves up 3
I
to
don't
22. Yeah, well, what did you say there about the last one there, Cody?
I don't I mean UTSA I'd give us 1, but I guess 2 is all
I mean, I'll take it.
right. I'll take it,
We're still above Florida, and so
Yeah.
and then we got 3 newcomers to the top 25. Number 23, Mizzou, which is weird saying that they're ranked. KU at 24, and Freeze at 25.
Yeah, Fresno? What?
Fresno.
Yeah.
Fresno. Well, I mean, you got to fill the spot, I guess.
Yeah, it's odd.
You got to fill the spot.
But you had other teams you could put there. You had Kansas State, you had Kentucky, Louisville. I mean, Colorado doesn't need to be in the top 25 anymore, but UCLA, Maryland, TCU, Tulane.
What happened to Iowa? Did they lose?
Yeah, they got the brakes beat. Why? I've been saying beat before breaks all day.
The breaks
They
beat.
got the brakes beat off of them by Penn State. Yeah, they're not ranked anymore, bro.
Yeah, they're gone. They had their
Wow.
fun. They were there for a couple of times. They're gone now. So, but there was other
Wow.
teams that they could have put in that 25th spot, which was strange. They chose Fresno for that spot. Don't understand that one at all.
Fresno.
But yeah, that's the new top 25. I do not agree with the ranking system this year. I don't even know where to go with this, to be honest with you, and why they did it the way they did. Did you put your rankings?
Put my new rankings in now.
what you think it should be?
That's what I think it should be.
I agree. Well, just for people that can't see these, Jayden has swapped some teams around. It looks like he put Ohio State at number 9,
Yeah.
Florida State at 4, Penn State at
Yep.
5, Washington at 6, USC at 7, and Oregon at 8.
Just
So
pretty
it's
much put
Utah and Ohio State. Or sorry, Utah is in between Notre Dame and Ohio State.
See,
That should
that
be the
makes more
rankings.
sense to me. That makes more sense.
just put Ohio all the way down there and just moved
Well, I
everybody
mean,
up.
Well,
let's not
no,
joke
that's because
around.
of how they've been playing.
Yes, let's not
Oh,
joke
I
around here. I
know.
mean, let's
Like
face it.
that's where they should
I
be at
know.
the entire season. They shouldn't even be in the top 5 at all.
Notre Dame and Ohio State played about the same. Should they not be closer in rank? You can't tell me that
Yeah.
Notre Dame needs to go down 2 and Ohio State needs to go up 2 when Notre Dame was already ranked lower than them and came very close to beating them. How are you going to say you're going to move them down 2? That they should be closer together.
Like that's ridiculous.
I mean, they should be moved closer together, but losing what 7 spots after winning a game. That's
Well, I
crazy.
mean,
No,
USC
this ain't supposed
losing
to
3.
be. This ain't
Well,
supposed to
I
be
know.
losing 7 spots after the game that they won. This
I
ranking. This is
know.
where they should be at all, in just the entirety. This is where they should have been at. If you want to keep them in the top 25, keep them around the top 10. Don't put them in the top 5. They've not acted like it. They've not. The only time they've acted like a top 5 team was against Western Kentucky, and it's Western Kentucky, bro.
And really, in all reality, they were ranked number 6 before this, so they would only lost 6 spots.
See, because this
if
is
it
the
was
current
like
ranking
ranked like
they've already
this.
finalized. If this was before the rankings came out and I made this, oh, it would have been fine. Ohio State would have just, well, because I think what were they? It was Notre Dame was
Notre
9
Dame was
and
9,
Ohio State was
6.
6.
Yeah,
So they would have lost 3 spots if they won that game.
yeah, you're right. Three spots. Yeah, 3 spots.
I mean, I don't think they did. It wouldn't really be. I wouldn't want to make it 3, but I just from what they have played so far in the season, they should be 9 or somewhere near 9, 10, 8. They shouldn't have even been that high to begin with.
Yeah, but they jumped them all the way up to
But
4. That
I know.
doesn't
know.
make sense. And then you push Notre Dame down 2 spots when, let's face it, Notre
Fine.
Dame should have won
You
that
wanna-
game. The last 2 plays
True.
of the game, they only had 10 players on their on the side of the field. I mean, so they were.
What they were doing?
I don't know what they were doing, but even then, 2 plays. The first of those 2 plays, one of those plays they kept them out of the end zone. So they kept
All I'm
Ohio
saying
State out of the
is
end zone with 10 people.
fine. Fine. You want to drop Notre Dame a little bit? Fine, but not 2. We can at least done 1. We could have dropped them down to 10 at least.
And not move
Okay.
Ohio State up any further up. They don't deserve it.
Might as well put them in the number 1 spot, I guess.
Well, might as well. I mean,
They're the best team to ever play the game.
according to these poll takers or
They're
whatever.
better than Nick Saban's Alabama. I mean, really, they are this season, I guess, but
Yeah.
it's whatever, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It makes no sense. This week polls is about as bad as the first week polls. I'm just going to put that out there. It's just as bad.
I mean, yeah.
This doesn't make no more sense than week 1, and this should be making sense right now, but it don't.
Everything else makes sense besides Ohio State. Like, that's the biggest gripe about it. Ohio
USC
State
is a little confusing too.
Oh, yeah, why'd they lose 3?
Yeah, they shouldn't have.
Who did they play? They played, who did they play?
Well, they played. Hang on, I'm pulling stuff back up.
I gotta go back.
They played Arizona State. It was 42-28.
Oh.
42.
What? Why did they
42
lose?
Exactly.
Oh, you know why they did that? For Ohio State, baby. Yeah,
Well,
right.
exactly.
They moved them down for Ohio State.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Why?
They had to move them 3 spots, even though they won.
Yeah, this ranking sucks, actually.
This is the dumbest ranking whatsoever.
I
It's,
do think the most balanced ranking is Washington State and Oregon State. They both went. Oregon State went down 5, and Washington State went up 5. Like
makes
that, they
sense.
took 5,
Yeah.
and fine,
Yeah.
whatever. But 3 after beating the brakes off you or Arizona State,
Yeah, they lose 3 for that.
really?
That makes no sense. None
And Washington
whatsoever.
puts 50 something, 59 on California, and they only go up 1.
Yeah, mind-boggling.
California didn't start
Mind-boggling.
scoring until the second half, really. I mean, whatever. Yeah, this is weird.
Yeah, that's why I said I have problems with this ranking this week because it doesn't make sense. It's favoring Ohio State over the rest of
Florida's right under us. God, I hate that.
the. Yeah, I do too.
I mean, hey, we are above Florida, so
They'll
Yeah,
go down. Don't worry.
well,
I
we got
mean-
South
I mean,
Carolina to play. This
We
week,
might too,
so
honestly.
yeah.
but-
We may be a
we'll
not.
drop out of the top 25. If we
This
lose.
might be the last
Yeah.
week we're talking about Tennessee. To be honest with you guys,
The Spencer Rattler is popping off.
yeah, it might be the last week,
But
guys.
anyway.
After what I've seen against Georgia, yeah, I'm just gonna say it right now. I don't think we win that game.
Jayden, you may not have to worry about us. Beat a broken record
Who's
with.
UConn play next week?
Who does UConn play next
They
week?
play Utah State. I'm rooting for you, UConn. My pick for UConn's next week game. Yeah, it's obviously UConn, Utah State.
Oh wow!
Come on, beat them, beat them, beat them, UConn. Please give me some happiness in my
Jay-
life.
James a UConn fan.
He's a UConn
mean-
fan now. He's done changed teams on us. He needs that.
I've
Husky,
had more fun playing.
Husky
I've been having
pride.
more fun watching the Colorado game than the Tennessee game. Maybe
Well,
because
yeah.
they can actually score and play defense.
Well, they couldn't this
I
past
don't
game.
think Colorado. Yeah, Colorado couldn't do it last game. So.
Oh, sad
well, I'm talking
times.
about just that game in general because it was funner to watch that game.
Now Colorado State was kind of fun. That game was fun to watch. But this last
yeah,
game
that was
like
interesting.
if you were watching Colorado and you like Colorado, well,
Yeah, there's
I
a
got
lot.
some
There's a
bad
lot of
news for you.
bandwagon
I like
fans
Oregon
this
too,
year.
but I like Oregon because their jerseys. They're my favorite team. I knew Oregon was gonna beat them, but it was cool to see Oregon literally blow them up, pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know. Anyway.
Y'all have anything else?
Nah, except for go UConn. They can
Good.
get 7
Go
this game.
UConn.
I'm just gonna say, Tennessee. Thank you. You done broke Jayden. You broke
Oh
Jayden.
yeah, you
okay.
broke me. I have to
He's-
go to a poorer team now.
He's broke. He's
0 and
broken
4.
man. He's a broken
You
man.
just sent me along my way.
Yeah.
I am looking at UConn merch right now. So
You broke him. He's looking at you. He's gonna be wearing husky sweaters from now on. He's gonna be a big old husky on his sweater. It's just
oh yeah,
a broken man.
here
James
we
gonna
go,
say-
baby.
UConn conference champs next year.
Hey, they're okay at basketball. Okay,
He's already looking at basketball. He's like, "We got this in basketball." Oh,
Yeah.
you done broke him. You broke him. He's
if we
Yeah.
win next game, I won't stop pulling for them.
See, he's broke. He's broke.
No, I'm just kidding.
Uh,
Seriously, please, Tennessee, let's fix it. Let's get it together. I'm just trying to make UConn fans happy, guys.
Is that what it is? Is that what it is?
They need
Yeah.
help,
Of all the
and
teams
I'm
you
gonna
could
be
have
the one
picked,
to help them.
of all the teams you could have picked, you picked UConn to try to help. Is that your charity
Oh.
case? Is UConn?
Yeah, I'm gonna help them. I'm gonna be the coach,
James gonna buy.
and I'm
a
gonna bring
UConn
them out.
jersey.
Is there an eligibility to be a coach?
I don't know.
How can I be a coach?
He's looking up how to be a coach for UConn. I've heard it all
How
now.
to become
heard it
a
all.
coach in
He's
sports?
oh he's Oh, he's broken.
You
He's
got it.
Okay, well, never mind.
Well, I
I have
mean,
not
Hey,
earned an online
I
top-ranked master's in sports
hey,
administration to become
I'll
a
tell you
coach.
something, Jayden. Last year they beat Boston College.
hey, there you go.
They beat
UConn?
Boston College last year. Yeah, yeah.
Good job,
UConn did.
UConn. Good job, UConn. You beat a
UConn won a
very
lot of
good
games
you
last year.
you beat a very defense-heavy team, UConn. I'm
I'll tell
glad.
I'll tell you what we should do next year. Okay, here's a pitch
Pull
for you
for
next
UConn.
year. No, well, I'm just gonna say
Oh,
each one of us picks a charity case team, and we root for
it's
them next
UConn.
year. Well, you can have your Yukon, but me and Cody's got to pick our own charity case. We got to
You're
pull
gonna pick.
for.
You're gonna pick Navy or
Hey,
something.
that's personal, okay, buddy. That's personal.
I gotta start watching some UConn highlights.
I might just.
Watch
Hey,
some
I might have to go UAB since they're the Dragons. I mean, come on.
True.
UAB.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might have to just pull for them since they're the Dragons. That'll be my charity case next year. Oh gosh, we went off the rails, guys. Sorry about this. If you're still listening to this podcast, we went off the rails. Probably the best part of the podcast, actually. To be honest with you, this
Yeah.
end. So, I'm put up a disclaimer at the beginning of this podcast. Stick around for the end to listen to this nonsense. All right. So if y'all have nothing else, we'll just go ahead and cut this off
No, I'm
here.
good.
As always, I'm Dustin.
I'm the UConn lover, Jayden. Let's go.
And I'm Cody.
And we'll catch you on the next episode.